What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky with Videohomicide, back with another comic book slash coffee table book, reference book, whatever the fuck you want to call this type of book. Call it what you will. They're badass. So over the weekend, me and my girlfriend, it was her birthday weekend, we went and hit up a couple of bookshops. We went and checked out Chapters, which has turned into this total fucking, it always kind of has been, but like total hipster cocksucker walking around with like a $14 Starbucks drink, holding a stack of books from the TikTok table. There's a table in there designated for the TikTok books, and there was fuck all for books that I liked. We didn't buy anything, so we immediately went from there to this Mission bookstore. It's like a, you know, Goodwill bookstore kind of place, and Kayla made out like a fucking bandit, got like 4 books, and then we ended up going to one of my old stomping grounds, City Lights bookstore, which is still located in downtown London. New owners, used to be owned by Mark Emery, who was a political activist, marijuana activist, all that kind of stuff. If you know anything about Canadian marijuana legislate, you've probably heard of Mark Emery. But nonetheless, we went there, and I made out like a bandit. But I'm going to show those last. First, I want to show the comic books that I picked up at Heroes Comics and Collectibles, which is the comic book store I've been going to since I was a kid. Mind you, City Lights bookstore that I was just mentioning, when I was a kid, me and my dad would go in there, and he would fucking make me be in there for like 3 hours while he like looked at like vinyl and like books and just random shit. And I would be like stuck in the corner somewhere reading one of those little Mad Magazine pocket-sized books, which they still have in that fucking store. And they actually have a decent movie selection now too, but the only problem with that was everything that I thought was decent was stuff that I either already owned or didn't really care to pick up. So these are the comics I picked up from Heroes. Now, this comic book kind of comes with a rant. All right, this is the Frank Miller Presents Ashcan edition, $1 price tag. Okay, you can find this on eBay currently selling for over $100, or trying to be sold for over $100. People buying them for $30. It's like, dude, this has a $1 fucking thing, $1 price point on it, and it just came out on Wednesday, you know, and it's already going for that kind of dough. And that brings to my point of why I kind of have this love-hate relationship with comic collecting. It's turned from this, like, what I once knew as like this like awesome hobby where like everyone kind of liked their own thing, and you know, everyone was sort of known for whatever, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, like there was Gene Paul Ace Peter, GDJ Rod, Undisputed Frost, Comic Fan, Four Way Flashers, like all, like Mike Seif, like all of Rage, all the dudes that I like kind of chummed around, like we all liked our own thing. And now, and all the New York Warriors, I got to shout all them out as well. Marky 416, Hippie's collectible. Hippie's like his own dude. Hippie collects. Hippie's one of the dudes that you like look up to. You know, I love the guy, and he's recently sort of resurgenced, or you know, started to post new videos and old videos and stuff, which is crazy and cool to see. But Hippie, if you're watching this, I'd love to know your take on like this whole bullshit of like something coming out and then immediately people are trying to flip it. It's like, to me, it seems like it would take so much time and energy to like go out of your way to buy stuff and then sell it. It's just like, I know what happens, and it's a business. A lot of people are like, this is a business, bro. And it's like, dude, call it what you want. It's bullshit when you're going to a comic book store and you buy like 10 copies of something where there's only 12,000 made, and you're trying to flip them, and you're fucking over people that just want to own them. People like me that just want to own them in their collection, read them because they're Frank Miller fans. You know what I mean? But now it's so like the comic book world or community, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it's so oversaturated with everybody buying the same thing all the time. Everyone's like, oh, this fucking movie's coming out, so I gotta cop this book and then sell it. I'm gonna buy like 20 copies, and then I'm gonna make a video saying, but everyone buy this book, and then I'm gonna chop my copies off to them. I don't like that, man. I think that's snake tactics, and I don't give a fuck if people are making money off it, whatever, feeding their families with it. At the end of the day, you're fucking over people that really just want to own the stuff because it just means that to them, you know? So, and Frank Miller, like, to be honest with you, that issue, I didn't read it. I looked it over, and there was nothing really in there that insane except for the last page. There's an ad for a new Sin City that takes place in like the Wild West, and Sin City, you know, books through, I believe there's 7 books in total, 7 volumes. I'm fucking enchanted by those books. I love them. I've only read through them once. It was a hell of an experience. Took me like a couple of weeks to read all 7 books, and then there was The Art of Sin City, which is a book that I just picked up like I believe at Christmas time. That was like, I was slowly starting to get back into comic books and stuff, and that brings me to my next point. So one of the main things that brought me back into comics was the YouTube channel cartoonist Kfave. And I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again quickly. I was really into David Cho, still am, and I see that he did a shoot interview with these guys, and I put it on my phone, listened to it a few times, thought it was really interesting, and then I was like, you know what, let me check these guys out. Started looking up their back catalog of videos, found out that I really liked the kind of stuff they were putting out, so I stuck through. And one of the guys, Ed Pisker, he puts out a book. He put out X-Men Grand Design, which I never read. He's the one that made those hip hop family tree videos or comics that I foolishly didn't pick up back in the day, because I was right at the cusp when I was like getting out of comics. Like I was not into paying $4 a book for like literally like a 3-minute fucking read, and then a bunch of ads, and then you're like, oh well, I guess I'll wait. And subpar art. So many times, like especially nowadays, I find you go into a comic book store and there's like beautiful covers by like these fucking awesome talented artists, and you crack open the book and it's just looks like it just looks like dog shit, and it looks like it was colored in like Microsoft Paint, which there's nothing wrong with coloring in Microsoft Paint, but when you're making like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle book, like I think everyone that reads those IDW Turtles books can agree there's been some stinker artists. All right, no fucking joke on that. But the other guy that on Cartoonist Kfave, because Cartoonist Kfave, I don't want to leave him out, is Jim Rugg, who put out Street Angel. Most recently, he put out the Hulk, Monsters and Mayhem, I believe. It's sort of like his version of Grand Design, and Tom Scholey, who does the King of Jack Kirby King of Comics book, and he did Fantastic Four Grand Design. I want to give everyone their proper dues because I feel like they deserve it. And I think Cartoonist Kfave is doing a great service for people like me, people like possibly you that are into this stuff, and you're into the art. You're into it. You know what I mean? You're not just into it because it's like, this book. I speculate this book will be worth $40, and I've only paid $5 for it. It's like, yeah, but your fucking blood pressure's high over basically nothing. You know what I mean? But so Ed Piskor's Red Room, which is like this total R-rated body horror fucking insane comic. I picked up issues 1 through 4, and I picked up the trade. That's in a video previously that I posted. But he also put out his next season, as he calls it, of Red Room. And they're out of order. For fuck's sakes. He put out Red Room Trigger Warnings. So this is Trigger Warnings issue 1 with a amazing cover. I love his style. He's very, his stuff is in black and white in this series, and I love it. I think it looks really fantastic. Very graphic, very horror. Like even if you just look at this cover, like you're seeing a lot of detail right there. So there's issue 1. I grabbed all 4 issues. There's issue 4 with the pumpkins. He's been teasing these for like, for a long time, I feel. So I can't wait to crack these open. These have been out for, as far as I know, for a little while. I was kind of like taking a crapshoot by not picking them up right away. And that brings to another point, that like whole FOMO bullshit, like fear of missing out. It's like that is brought on by these cocksucking scalpers and just fucking people that are going to buy every issue of something because they know it's a low print run or they know it's popular or whatever the fuck, and just totally chaps my ass. And again, it's like, what life do you fucking have if you're taking the fun out of other people's hands? Here's issue 3, kind of like the guy from Street Trash sitting up on the mountain of in the junkyard with a Bitcoin face. Really cool stuff. Oh, I didn't really realize these like goat head altars on either side. Love that. And then issue 4 of Red Room has like a fucking very disturbing totem pole of dead bodies. Like this comic book is not like the kind of book you buy for your nephew because he likes the new Batman film and he wants to get into comics. Don't buy him Red Room. It's full of just graphic insanity, sexual depravity, and all that kind of stuff. But I love it. Body horror. Speaking of body horror, that's going to end the session or the segment of the comic books. We're going to move on to the actual books. We're going to talk about body horror. We're going to talk about one guy. We're going to talk about David Cronenberg. Okay, now this book is called Cronenberg on Cronenberg, edited by Chris Rodley, Indispensable Empire. So this book, I believe I paid $7 for. Yep, $7. Got this at City Lights bookstore, and it has some amazing information. I have read a few pages of this, just like kind of here and there. We got some excellent images of Cronenberg there working a 35 millimeter camera. Looks like a Panasonic reflex, and then a Panaflex. Like, listen to me, like I know like these fucking model numbers and all that shit. But I do respect this man so goddamn much. He's a Canadian horror director. You know, here's a really excellent shot of him from 1969 working on the film Stereo, short film Stereo, I believe. Excellent stuff. There's a couple of pages in here that I think are really worth pointing out. If I can find them without being a prick here. Sorry. There it is right there. It's the shot for shot segment, like frame for frame, of the head explosion in Scanners. I think that's so... I would love to like have that in color, huge, framed on the wall. And there's one other thing I want to show in here that I think is so fucking radical. And I don't use the word radical lightly. It's like the transformation progress of Jeff Goldblum's character in The Fly. How fucking cool is that, man? Like, you don't... Like, me and Kayla were talking, like, you just don't find books like this, like, in the wild anymore. You kind of got to go to, like, these... Well, I mean, I found it in the wild, but I mean, like, I found it at a bookstore. Like, you know, not like a thrift store. Like, this is like a legit bookstore, but great Canadian horror director, David Cronenberg, man. Next, this is really cool as well. This is put out by Heavy Metal Magazine. This is the book of Alien. Okay, not to be mistaken with the Heavy Metal comic book adaptation, but this is from 1979. And it lists like a bunch of other books that are put out by Heavy Metal. Is Man Good by Mobius, Azraq by Mobius, Alien, the Illustrated Story by Walter Simonson and Archie Goodwin, which is the one I just referenced. But the reason I picked this up is because there's a lot of really good conceptual art, you know, and Alien is famously known for having H.R. Geiger do a lot of the conceptual art, but there's like other stuff, just like random kind of like ship stuff, like really interesting, cool shit. Like there's like a good painting right there. And of course, like, you know, you're obviously going to have your, you know, your Geiger influence in this book, of course, because he's amazing. I actually picked up a Geiger art book like not long ago, I believe during Christmas time. Fucking love Alien, love the Alien franchise. And the last book that I picked up is this book right here called Hong Kong Action Cinema. Now, I never turn these down when I find these, man. I've got a few. I've got a Yakuza book and a book called Tokyo Scope, which is like all different kinds of genres of genre film, if you want to say that. But it's got Chow Yun-fat on the cover. It's got all kinds of, you know, well, obviously you're going to have the man right there, Bruce. But, you know, I love the fact that Chow Yun-fat is on the cover, man. So I highly recommend supporting your local bookstores and whatnot. And, you know, with that being said, I appreciate everybody for watching. Leave a 666 in the comments. Let me know what your favorite book out of this stack was. And with that being said, adios, amigos.